Guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode where we bring you top entrepreneurs, business owners to help inspire you. And today I've got a fantastic guest for you, Fernando Xavier. He is originally born in Brazil, but he's also an entrepreneur and he helps clients turn their life around really fast, get fast results, make more money, change themselves. And I'm really happy to have his insights and wisdom on the show. So, Fernando, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here today.
Yeah, I know. And I love anybody in the self improvement area because, they're always growing and always trying to strive for. And so, talk about your stories. I know you were a fighter. You're also, gone through some personal struggles and how this shaped who you are.
Yeah, a lot of people have a different view of the world, so to say. Some people view hard times like this big negative thing. I actually see it as a big positive. It it's hard to see it that way once you're in it. Once you're out of it, and you got that fog, sort of say those clouds kind of move away from your mind, that brain fog goes away. You can see it for what it really was. And I can tell you that going through hard times is one of the absolute best things that you can ever have happen to you if you're trying to succeed. I'll go as far as to say that unless you have been through a lot of hard times and big struggles, it's nearly impossible to succeed. And I know that's controversial. Some people are going to look at that and say, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But if you go back throughout history and you look, you can see of all the top people that has made it, you can see that they have went through some bad situations. So that's my belief anyways.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how I love how you paint this picture where life is not a rosy, white picket fence, picture perfect destination type. We all have struggles and we all have gone through things. So in that light, I'm really interested in talking about this idea of dealing with negativity because, as we're progressing and developing, we've got our own worries, our own vibes, and we got the people around us, surrounding, telling us we can't do it. How do you deal with negativity?
Yeah, so you just said something there that reminded me of a quote that I heard a long time ago, and I carry it with me. I heard once someone told me, life is like algebra. If it seems to be going easy, you're doing it wrong, So, yeah, it's one of those things. It's really hard to be around negativity and not become a negative person. People have a hard time understanding that the people that are right around you, there's a cliche, everyone says, oh, you're a byproduct of the people around you. That's true, but it's hard to make people get it. It's just because you got good friends around you. If your good friends act a certain way and you love those friends, it's hard to let it go. It's extremely hard to let it go. And I'm sure you can attest to this. You just want to be around those familiar faces all the time. People make you feel comfortable. And feeling comfortable is like a cancer for people that wants to succeed. If people around you are not calling you out, not telling you, hey, you're doing this wrong or you're doing that wrong, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that, you really need to get away from the people that makes you feel comfortable when you're trying to accomplish a goal. That doesn't mean not become friends with those, not no longer being friends with those people, but at a certain point, you need to break away and say, okay, I love you guys. You're like my friend since I was little. We can still go get a beer. We can still go hang out. But I think it's time that I go this direction for a little bit and I figure this thing out because all you guys are here and I want to go this way. And then we can still be somewhat friends and be close. But negativity, it starts right there with those people that have been around you. If you got people that has seen you a certain way your whole life, it's hard to get those people to see you a different way. That's why a lot of times when you come up to someone, to a good friend, or even your parents, I see this a lot, and they'll tell you, "Hey, listen, I'm trying to do X. I'm trying to start this business, so I'm trying to do this or do that." That's why the negativity will start right there for two reasons. One, they don't see you that way. They've known you your whole life. That's not something you would normally act like or do. So they kind of pull you back. A lot of times they don't mean to do it, but it's just the way they'll react. Do you know what I'm saying? So they'll just kind of pull you back by telling you a bunch of negativity. Hey, listen, I don't know, man, like you're not strong enough, or you're not big enough, or you're not smart enough, you didn't go to college. And they'll just shout a bunch of negativity, even if they don't mean to. That negativity will then put doubt in your mind. that doubt will hold you back. It's like an anchor. You'll throw that anchor and just sit there. Why? Because the people that make you feel good on a daily basis has just told you, I don't believe you can do it.
Mm.
So it's like, okay, then you start wrong right there. That's the number one. That's the first negativity right there. The second negativity would be when you try something and you fail. You're going to fail at least 10 times for every time you do something right. That seems like a crazy number, but if you fail 10 times at something and then you get it that next time, you are lucky. You're very lucky. I've done things where I failed 20, 30 times before I actually did it somewhat right. And then I was able to start succeeding. Also, a big thing about negativity and failing is when you fail so many times at something and you're about to lose hope that you can actually do it, but then you get it right one time, even if it's a small victory, you just get that right. That now is where you are. You're no longer that guy that's failed 20 times. You're now the guy that's won once. You no longer get defined as the failure. You now succeeded once, even if it's this big. And then you got to build on that. Okay, now I know I can be here. And then again, you go from there again and you keep pushing forward and pushing forward. But people don't get it. They fail 2 to 3 times. They go, you know what? I've washed my hands with this. Not for me. I get it. I can't start this small business. I can't start a landscaping company. I can't drop ship. I can't do anything. I failed. I'm a failure. That's not reality. Reality is so much different. Reality is I'm going to start drop shipping. Failure, 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 failure. Oh, got one thing right. Failure, failure, failure. Got one thing right. Failure, failure, one thing right. Failure, failure, one thing right. Failure, success, success, and then you succeed. People don't get that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And you mentioned something that really resonated is, I used to, talk about like my ideas and just kind of I'm into big into self-improvement, and I used to like talk about these, really crazy things to people listening, and then at some point I was just like, heard this no, 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 or you're not this, you're not X, Y, and Z, you're not white, or all this, and then so I just at some point I was just like, they just don't get it. They just like, just keep your mouth shut. When you're around them, just kind of listen, and just go about your ways, which is really interesting. So, you talk about, choosing really your close inner circle. A lot of times my close inner circle was books because people just didn't get me and I didn't get them. So, and I was always like reading, and now it's like podcasts and YouTube. But talk about this, how to deal with your own negativity and your own negative thoughts. If you came up, you were bullied or you're discriminated, or, all these things, how do you deal with that? People stab you in the back, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, you see, the thing about getting stabbed on the back and your own negativity, I think we can go two ways there. So the first, when you have your own negativity, right? There's a famous Navy SEAL, like a SEAL Team 6 guy called Robert O'Neill. He's now famous for having claimed to shoot and kill Osama bin Laden at the time. He's on that movie, Zero Dark 30 and everything. He gives out speeches, and he said something once, stress and negativity is like a bag of bricks. And you can choose to carry that weight on your shoulder, but once you've done with it, you can just choose to put it down and not have that anymore. When you go in your own mind and you start to map out things that you want to do with your life, whether it's long term or short term, the first thing you do is you have this beautiful vision in your head, right, of what you want. But then that's where the positivity stops, because then you kind of digress a little bit. Oh, okay, so I want this. And then like, oh, but then I got to do that. Ooh, but then I can't have fun. But then I got to do this. But how am I going to get that much money? How would I get this job? That's where the negativity starts immediately. As soon as you have this great feeling within yourself of what a goal, a beautiful thing you want to accomplish, regardless of what you're doing, if you're a soccer player or a football player or a wrestler, or you want to make money, you have it mapped out like you have this beautiful thing, and then immediately you go, well, I don't know if I can get that. The first thing that you got to do is stop thinking long term, right? If you say, I want to become the best football player ever, and then you just keep thinking about that, you're going to fuel yourself with negativity. It's just going to fill up your mind and everything because you don't know how to get there. You've never been there. It's something new to you. Your brain kind of shuts it down, pushes it down. What you do is, I want to be the greatest football player of all time. Immediately you need to go, I no longer want to think about that. Now what I want to think about is, I'm going to sit down and put out a plan on how to accomplish that. And you take that out of your mind and you just focus on the plan. I am right here and I want to get to here. How do I make that happen? Okay, well, the first step is I need to be fit, right? This almost sounds dumb what I'm saying, but if people stop to think about it, they'll realize this is what they're missing. I need to get fit. If I'm not fit, yeah, I need to get fit. And if I am fit, I need to be fitter. Okay, so then every day, what am I going to do every day? Then you break it up. Okay, this is my daily routine. Step number one, this is what I got to do. I got to be up at this time. I got to do this. I have to eat this way. I have to go to sleep at a certain time. That's 1% of what you have to do to accomplish your goal. That's just 1%. But then the next day, if you go and you wake up at 5 a.m. like you said you would, victory number one. That's positivity, no longer negativity. Then you eat the right things for breakfast. Victory number two, you now feel better. Now you go and you run 5 miles. Victory number three. And then you keep building it up. And every day, you can't have negativity. You're constantly winning. How are you going to be negative about something you're doing right? You're not yet the greatest football player of all time, but you're working through that. But here's the other side of it. You don't wake up at 5 a.m. You wake up at 7, and then you don't go running. That's two negatives. Now, negative, you feel bad about missing the wake-up time. You feel bad about not eating. You go out for a 5-mile run. You run 2 miles. You get tired. You walk the rest of the way. You come home. That's negativity number three. And then it keeps on going. You ever heard of a downward spiral? You can also do the same thing going up. There's an upward spiral too. They work the same. So that's what it is. Negativity are the things that you literally fail to do. That's all it is. If you fail to do something, that's called negativity. Because that's what happens to your brain. Your brain says, oh, you're a failure. You're supposed to do this. You convinced me you were going to do this, but then you didn't. That's all it is, right? And once you learn to stack up little small wins every day, it could be as small as drinking water. Don't it feel good when you say to yourself, hey, you know what? I'm going to drink a gallon of water a day. The stupidest thing that you can ever do, drinking water. And then you drink a gallon of water that day. Don't you celebrate within your head? The world could be catching fire around you. People could be fighting. It doesn't matter because you had a gallon of water that day. That's what you wanted to do. And you're just so excited because you did it. So negativity is within yourself. It's what you choose to do. You do the right things, you're going to feel positive. You don't do the right things, you feel the negativity. And once you fall into this habit of always doing negative things and never doing anything positive, you kind of don't see what I'm talking about. For people that are going to watch this and say, I can't relate to what he's saying, it's because they're so far gone that they don't even know what I'm talking about. They've never tried anything. And if they did, they didn't even try hard enough to get one small win. That's it. It's as real as it gets right there. If you don't even know what I'm talking about, I feel bad because you've never tried it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And it's kind of like it almost reminds me like, like some guy or woman and they're in the wrong career. They've been trying to people please people all their lives and they want to go in one direction, but people are telling them no, and then they lie to themselves, they rationalize it, and at the end of their lives they're like resenting people that went for it. And it's because of what you're talking about. It's just kind of you're lying to yourself and and then your body knows, your soul knows. And so really fascinating. And I know we could talk about this. I love self-improvement mindset. How can people contact you? I know you've got a huge following on Instagram and reach out to you, work with you, mindset, all of that.
Yeah, so I'll get into that, but you said something that I don't want to skip over because it's really important. You mentioned something about being a people pleaser and saying no and stuff like that. I feel super bad that I don't remember her name. I'm sure people can look it up pretty easily. Elon Musk's ex-wife, she did a TED talk, and I'm so sorry that I don't remember her name.
Yeah.
She gave a TED talk a few years ago, and when asked what was the number one reason for Elon's success, she said he stopped being a people pleaser and saying no. That was a turning point in his life. That's when he went from failure to success. And she literally says that on her talk, so people can go look it up. So it's important what you just said. Being a people pleaser is a huge negative. It's so bad. It is so bad. Once you learn how to say no, when people ask you, "Hey, listen, can you do this for me?" What they're essentially doing is, "I have a problem, and I want to give you the problem. I want to get rid of the problem."
Yeah.
And you can go, "Yes, I can," and then take that problem for yourself. And now that person is free, and you have a problem because now you've given your word and your responsibility. Now you got to deal with someone's problem that you didn't even help create, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. You said something that's super important. People need to really pay attention to how much they're trying to please other people and how much they're saying yes when they should say no. And I know it hurts. I know a lot of people go, "You know what, but it's so easy. I could just do that." The other day I had someone ask me to take them to the airport. And normally I would just say yes. But that morning I had made a goal to do something. I said, I'm going to wake up. It's going to be a super cold day. I want to run 3 miles that morning when it's going to be the coldest day. And if I did take them to the airport, I wasn't going to be able to run that day. Now it's stupid. I could just go run later. However, I made that plan to run at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I said no to that person and I ran, right? Nothing could have given me a better feeling than running that day. It's small as running. However, I still had a victory that day because I said no. And that's simple. I could, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't seem like a big deal. And people won't think it is until they actually do it. And then they realize, okay, makes sense. I know what you're talking about.
How can people how can people find you in work?
So the easiest place to find me is on Instagram. My Instagram is at Nando_Knip. And I respond to all the DMs over there. If people have anything they want to say, if they need help or anything. I have a good course that I do, and I help people achieve their goals really fast. Just kind of something takes you a year. I help you get it within a couple of months, sometimes even shorter. I've got this proven method that I've done in my life a few times already, and I have proof of it. People, it's pretty public, so people can go and look and see. And I help people achieve their goals really fast, and I do that. And I help people. I've been coaching manifestation for a long time. I've done that for a while. I can help people with that. And just I do a lot of things. And my Instagram is mostly like funny things and just stupid, funny videos and stuff like that. And every now and then I'll put a good podcast video or a good inspirational whatever. But most of it's just for laughs or whatever. I don't do much. I don't do much coaching. Like I don't post a lot of coaching stuff on Instagram. I just feel like people want to just go on Instagram for a laugh or something like that. I don't care to build that rapport with people. Like I'm your coach. I'm not. I want to make you laugh and everything. If you like what I do, you'll come looking for me and I'll help you in a different way, not through telling you through Instagram.
And for all the audience, let's thank Fernando for this wonderful discussion, and be sure to give his Instagram a like and follow. And with that, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.